I was born ready is now the mandatory for Billy Joe Saunders at middleweight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest in boxing, fighting, some creative videos, some opinions, some interviews, all that good stuff. Now, it was just announced that the WBO has mandated that WBO champion Billy Joe Saunders, his #1 mandatory is now he was born Canelo Alvarez. And they passed up somebody else who's already in the division, Avtandil Khurtsidze, and I kind of want to give my thoughts on this announcement. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, there's so many things to talk about. Where do I begin? One, I feel bad for Khurtsidze because he just stopped a hot prospect in Antoine Douglas, and he stopped him in emphatic fashion and knocked him off the ladder in a very good performance. I haven't really heard much of him since, and he's already in Billy Joe Saunders' division, and he gets stepped over. But in the words of Jay-Z, politics as usual. It's all business, you know what I mean? And that's the thing with these sanctioning bodies. They're not consistent with some of the things that they do, and different promoters, different fighters, it seems like they have ties to these people, and they kind of play musical chairs and shift and do whatever they want. And it's not just the WBO, but they're a sanctioning body. That's one of them. I remember the WBC at welterweight. They had Amir Khan ranked #1 or 2. That's why he's the mandatory for Danny Garcia's WBC belt. They had him ranked before he even moved to welterweight. He was still at like 140, and they had him ranked #2. So it's kind of the same thing the WBO's doing. Canelo's been fighting. His last fight, he fought for the WBO belt at 154. Got it by stopping Liam Smith. He fought at 155. He's never fought at the full 160. And somehow, some way, he's ahead of Avtandil Khurtsidze, who has a good win at middleweight against a prospect. And Canelo outranks him to be the Billy Joe Saunders #1 mandatory. So, again, it's all business. I think the WBO, I think it's just business, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I really think it's just all business in terms of Canelo Alvarez is pretty much a global star. He has a country behind him. He's known in the States. He fought Floyd Mayweather. So for him to represent the belt, it means more to the sanctioning bodies, you know, and that's kind of how it is. Like, I think Rigondeaux had the WBO belt and they stripped him. Demetrius Andrade had the WBO belt and they stripped him. Quality fighters, skilled fighters, but their names at that time, and maybe even still, don't ring bells like a Canelo Alvarez, so they don't really care. But if it's a big Miguel Cotto or Floyd Mayweather or Canelo or even a Triple G, maybe a popular fighter that has their belt, then they kind of like that. So it's kind of, like I said, politics. Canelo's big business. People know who he is and stuff like that. So the WBO is probably looking at it like, hey, yeah, this isn't fair, but either have this redhead that was born ready and he has a chance at the belt, or Avtandil Khurtsidze, who, you know what I mean, most people, definitely casuals, wouldn't even know, you know what I'm saying? So it's a business decision. But aside from that, this doesn't really mean anything because it was recently reported, I did videos about it, that there may be negotiations underway for a Chavez Jr. catchweight fight at 165. So we don't know what Canelo's going to do. He's coming off of a thumb injury, hand injury. They said he'll be back some point in 2017, maybe in the spring. Will he fight Chavez Jr. at 165 or maybe fight Billy Joe Saunders at middleweight? And it's honestly, from my perspective, the Chavez Jr. fight, whether you like Chavez or not, it's a bigger fight. They'll make more money. So you know how boxing works. I don't have to tell you guys. At the end of the day, they might opt for something like that because the money's there. You have arguably Mexico's biggest 2 stars and names in boxing, And this is a long-standing rumored fight. People always wanted, like, when they were first coming up, oh, who would win and stuff like that. And it didn't seem like it could ever happen because it seemed like Chavez Jr. was, like, moving up to heavyweight or something because he was huge. But now things have changed, and it looks like it might be able to go down. So it's a big money fight. Team Canelo may go with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's also kind of for, like, if you guys, like the Mexican culture, kind of like bragging rights too. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 family names. It was just like Canelo's brother fought against Chavez's brother. You know what I mean? And it was like a battle. The Alvarez family versus the Chavez family. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a battle over whose name. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like just a rivalry. So it's bragging rights for like who's the best of Mexico. It's a big business fight. So they might not even care about Billy Joe Saunders. Now, the other thing that doesn't really excite me about this news is because Billy Joe Saunders just fought Wolverine. Hey, bub, Berserker Barrage, Berserker Barrage, drill power. And he didn't look good in that fight. He called out Golovkin, said Canelo's easy work, and then he puts up a dud performance. So the fact that he didn't look like he was in great shape leading up to the fight, he didn't put up a good performance against Logan, a guy we don't really know. And it wasn't a good look. Akov or whatever the guy's name is wasn't a good look. So that made the fight lose its luster a bit. And like if he did it straight off the Andy Lee fight, then the Canelo fight would probably be bigger. But off of that performance, he didn't look good. It's just kind of like Adrian Broner was linked to fight Ricky Burns, and then Burns put up a weak ass performance versus Karel Relic, and now Broner's fighting Granados. They just went in a whole different direction. So that might be the case with the Canelo fight. You could argue like, okay, Mexico's biggest star who has crossover success in America fighting a guy from the UK. That's a good demographic. But again, boxing fans aren't dumb. Billy Joe Saunders is not the biggest name in the States. And boxing fans aren't dumb. And if you're a hardcore fan, you've probably seen or heard about his last fight. And you know it wasn't a good performance, so that doesn't really do much to build a mega fight when one of the guys who's not even really known in the States is, because Canelo, I don't think he would go to the UK, but coming across the pond off of a shitty performance to fight Canelo, you know what I'm saying? So they might even opt to see what Chavez Jr. is talking about, and if like maybe like let's say they get further into the negotiations and drafts and stuff like that, and they can't see eye to eye on whatever, like who gets the red corner, who gets the blue corner, or whatever details money wise, then maybe they'll look at the Billy Joe Saunders. So I think the Chavez Jr., I think they're going to look into that more. You know what I mean? De La Hoya is not dumb. Chavez Jr. lacks discipline to a lot of people. He's big. If he focuses, he could probably be better, but that's the type of fight where it's a big money fight, and I don't think Oscar would be worried about a level of risk with I think he's confident that Canelo has the skill to beat Chavez Jr. So he would make it, unlike Canelo Triple G. I think Oscar does have some doubts, but I mean it's tricky because the $15 million, Triple G don't seem like his team wants that, and that's a more than fair offer. So right now everything's a shot in the dark. I'm not really sure what Golden Boy and Team Canelo will do for a fact, because it's really up to them. And they haven't released any kind of dates. But what I think would happen is I think they're going to explore the Chavez Jr. fight to see if it really can get done, if Chavez can really make the weight. And they got to look, especially dealing with weight and Chavez Jr., that's like almost doesn't go together. So they would have to look real deep into it, because like rehydration clause, are they going to have one? You know what I mean? Can Chavez Jr. come 200 pounds on fight night? You know what I'm saying? Is there a penalty if he misses weight? Was the fight canceled? You know what I mean? They'd have to look into the details, but I think they're willing to at least explore the fight based on how big of a fight it is. So I think the Billy Joe Saunders fight would probably take a back seat, especially since he's coming off of, again, a shitty performance. He didn't look good. Wolverine had his adamantium in, and he was looking like Weapon X in that fight. And Billy Joe Saunders didn't look good, so that's not really the type of performance to really catapult Canelo into anything, you know what I mean? So they might choose the money route, which is Chavez Jr. But again, this is just kind of my opinion on the situation. I'm okay with the Chavez Jr. fight, Triple G. Obviously, I want to see Canelo Triple G, but he's already fighting Danny Jacobs. That should be a tough fight while it lasts, things of that sort. So, I mean, we can't really worry about Canelo Triple G at the moment. They both have to get past whoever they fight before they would allegedly fight each other later in the year. Let me know what you guys think. Avtandil Khurtsidze got skipped over, and now Canelo is the #1 mandatory to Billy Joe Saunders. Boxing doesn't surprise me, point blank period. I don't really get surprised from boxing, especially because I've seen some of the craziest stuff. Like I said earlier in the video, Amir Khan, he hasn't even really done much at welterweight, and they have him ranked like #1. You know what I mean? And I think it's been that way for a minute before he even fought at welterweight. And then now, since he's fought, he has 3 fights at welterweight. Devin Alexander, Chris Algieri, and Collazo. You know what I mean? How is that? How is he ranked higher than like an Errol Spence Jr.? You know what I mean? Or whoever else. Danny Garcia. Well, Danny Garcia is the champion, but you guys get what I'm saying. How is he ranked #1? So I'm not surprised that WBO did this. Politics as usual. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.